Hello, guys, gals, non-binary pals, anything, everything, up, down, and in between. Welcome to another episode of GSC's Girl Pod. I'm Candy, and of course, I am joined by V. How you doing, V?
I'm very well, Candy. How are you?
Do- Doing good. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're probably like, "What is that ridiculous thing that you're wearing on your head?" We are recording this on July 26th, which is my birthday, and I'm gonna be a little diva about it, and I put on a tiara.
As you should, as you should. Celebrate the whole month. This is your birthday month. Like, you
I
should
do.
be wearing the tiara at all times.
Do
Like,
you imagine it's every day walking outside tiara? I mean, I could have been more obnoxious and put on the sash that it came with. I did not do that. Just the tiara.
that's for later. Like, the sash is for later.
Th-
That's Girl Pod After Dark is what the sash is for. Like,
that's girl pot after dark and walking around the city tomorrow being like, "It's my birthday. I'm going to go do karaoke. Buy me a drink."
yeah, be nice to me and also buy me beverages, please. Thank you.
Thanks. But, it's
There's
not.
a rule in Scotland that you cannot buy a drink on your own birthday. So if someone is wearing a sash or a crown, you must buy them a drink at the bar. Those are the rules. Like it's like the law.
you know, More and more I'm like, I need to go to Scotland. That's just what I'm hearing every
Absolutely.
time. Time to go to Scotland.
Yeah. Yeah. Best country in the world. Don't come this week. I think Donald Trump's here this week. But another week.
Another week. I'll be there another week. He's gonna try to steal my
yeah.
spotlight anyway. It's rude.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not even his birthday. Rude. Inappropriate.
Seriously.
Like
Seriously. God. Doesn't he have other things he should be like worried about? You know, trying to hide files from people
yeah.
and stuff. Well, won't fully dive into that because maybe this is the first time these people are listening and they're like, "Oh no, is this a political podcast?" No, it's not. It's not. I promise you. This was a small joke that started in Discord and now it's a full-blown podcast and we've done 4 episodes, so it's done. This is now mostly solidified in stone. Where each episode we're going to talk about gaming from our perspectives. So if you haven't watched the past episodes, go watch the past ones. If you have, welcome. You're right on time. And make sure that you are following the channel so that you get the notifications for all episodes, not just for Girl Pod, but also for the weekly news podcast that V is on every week, and for the party chat on Fridays. And then also make sure that you check out gamersocialclub.ca, which is the website that we write for. Editorials, guides, news, reviews, previews, all sorts of things all about games written for you by gamers. We are not professionals, clearly, because I'm rambling on way too much already for this introduction, and I haven't even had a sip of my drink yet. So, just a good group of people want to have some fun, want to talk about gaming, and we do it both in text and on the podcast, just like this. So, click it over, give us a follow. Link will be in the description, and then we'll just dive right in to everything that we're gonna talk about today. Starting with, what the hell are we drinking? What are you drinking, V?
So I'm on a bit of a donut theme today. I had some very delicious donuts. If you check out my Blue Sky, you will see some of the delicious donuts that I was eating today. But I currently have a caramelized apple cinnamon crumble donut session sour
Yum.
from Vault City. So you guys have probably, if you watched the pod before, you'll know that I'm a big fan of Vault City. It's made in Edinburgh, not far from where I am in Scotland. And they do a fantastic range of sours, and this one is absolutely delicious. It's not very sour at all, just super sweet. Um, Almost got a bit of a coconut to it, which I don't understand
Ooh.
why, because it's like supposed to be apple cinnamon crumble, but
Okay.
it's delicious and very refreshing because it's still ridiculously warm here in Scotland. So it's like fresh out the fridge,
Fair.
absolutely required on a Saturday evening. What are you drinking?
So, all right, again, because I'm being a little princess today, um, I decided to go a little fancy today. And it's actually one of the things we joked about when we first talked about Girl Pod, like drinking sake. Um, and
Yeah.
it's finally episode 4 or 5, I don't know. And I not only pulled out the sake set. So, gonna be a little fancy today. So I'll have my little sake cup. Um, I'm
Mm.
drinking a Sayuri Nigori sake. So it comes in this really pretty pink bottle, but it's a relatively big bottle of sake, so I didn't bring the whole bottle. Plus, it'll get wet, and it's actually not a clear sake. It is filtered, so I have to keep giving the bottle a little bit of a shake, which is also why I didn't want to bring the whole bottle out. Keep it cold, keep it refreshed. I'm not a sake expert by any means. I prefer my sake on the sweeter side. You know, should be clearly obvious with a name like Candy and everything else that I've drank on this podcast so far. That I am a sweet drinker. But I really enjoy sake because I think it's just a very distinct type of flavor that you don't get with other things. And it's a nice drink to be able to sip if you just want to sip it. It's not, I feel like normally you are not drinking most sake to get like drunk. If you're drinking sake to get drunk, you're probably having like the cheap 1 cup sake. You're not having like the more nice, refined like sake that you can buy. And actually I'm excited to finally dive into the sake because it was a Christmas gift and it is now July and I finally cracked it open. So.
Well, you gotta get the nice stuff out for your birthday. Like,
exactly.
you know.
Exactly. I was like a little.
How is it?
Fancy. Oh, you know what? I haven't even tasted it yet. Oh, it's perfect. It's so good.
Yay!
It's so good. I knew, like,
I've not had sake in ages. I'm so jealous.
I knew it was gonna be sweeter, which is what I wanted, and it's not overly sweet, and it gets you just a little bit like, not sour, not tangy, but just a little bit in like the very back by like your back teeth, just like a little like, hi, I'm here, and I'm just like, oh
yeah,
okay, but it's refreshing. It's really, really good. I'm very happy with this. Sean picked a good sake.
You're not going to regret not bringing the bottle.
I might. This might be one of those episodes where it's like, hold on, I'm going to run to the kitchen, and it'll sound like I'm a little farther away. The kitchen is right behind me, so I won't have to be gone that long.
Yeah. Just come back with a bottle. It's fine.
Just come back with the bottle. Be like, here's the pretty pink bottle I was talking about. But
yeah,
no, it's perfect. It's so happy. And it is a chilled sake. I should have also said that. This one is a chilled sake. There are some hot sakes that you can have. This is not one of them. I do typically prefer like the chilled sake, but I think those also typically run on the sweeter side anyway. I don't think I know of a hot sweet sake. And again, not a sake expert. There are maybe a handful of names that I would recognize, but not the way that I would recognize like different wines or different ciders, right? So
yeah.
When I eventually make it to Japan, maybe one day, dream goal, you know, then I'll take a sake course. Be like, teach me everything about your sake. But until then,
yeah, find me a hot sweet sake that I can drink, like, for the winter.
I mean, that would be amazing. That would be so good. But until then, I will just enjoy this one as it is. But it's fine.
It sounds delicious. I'm jealous. Like,
well, when you make it to New York, we'll have all the sake. We have some really great Japanese spots that have some really great sakes too. So we'll just have to hit all of them up. Try all the sake.
Amazing. And when you come over to Scotland, I'll get you some of the very lovely sweet beers from Vault City.
Yes!
So you can enjoy.
I'm in. Yeah. Looking for an excuse to go on a trip.
Yeah, you gotta. Like, it's, you know, you need to go somewhere at least once a year. You know, it has to be done. Can't stay at home the whole time.
No. Hell no. Speaking of trips, who are we, who's our guest, our fantasy guest this episode? This is your pick.
Is my pick? I thought last week I spoke about Alex Jordan. I thought this was your pick.
Was that last week? I thought that...
I'm pretty sure it was.
No, last week we talked about Sea Dog.
Oh yeah, we did talk about Sea Dog. Damn.
Oh my
god.
It
is my pick.
And we talked about Sea Dog before all the drama that has happened online with his bestie Iron Mouse.
Yes, I did see some of that. I'm not fully aware of all of the drama, but I have heard that there's been a huge amount of drama in the VTuber community And
Yes.
you are also a VTuber when you stream, so I assume you've been following this closely.
Oh,
Like,
it has been so messy. And I'm not going to dive all into it because I am not like one of them who knows what it is. But like the bottom line is Iron Mouse found out that the company that she was a part of had withheld over $500,000 from a charity that was supposed to go to them from like her subathons and merch sales, and were also not paying her um, and not paying her correctly. And she left the company. And when she left, there was a mass exodus of other people that also left and started trying to get answers for everything. And I'm not going to go into like all the speculation stuff. I'm literally just going to talk about like the stuff that they've actually said. Also, so that way V has some time to think about it, guest. So
yeah, yeah.
essentially, Kason, who was another VTuber at V Shoujo, called the Japanese CEO and was trying to get answers out of him live on stream, and then quit live on stream. Other people walked out, and the company itself has now imploded. They have no talents anymore. And a lot of them have come out saying what their lawyers have allowed them to say because they are very smart, and they are working with lawyers. And I know a lot of people like, well, the company is folded, so the NDA is like over, right? No, that doesn't mean the NDA is over. That doesn't mean they're clear to speak, because NDAs and different contracts could still be sold to other companies, right? And then they would still need to follow suit. And if they didn't follow suit, right, then there could be a lot of law things that happen. So no, NDAs are not done already. The company has not sold any assets. That like all that's going to take time. But ultimately, what a lot of them have been able to come out and say is that they weren't paid for months at a time, and merch that was supposed to be shipped out and worked on did not get shipped out and worked on. And essentially, the company was trying to get more money. It didn't work out. They withheld from the people that they shouldn't have withheld from, and it was just very poorly managed. There were some comments that came out that were not great, like saying I didn't know that money was supposed to go to charity. That wasn't a
Oh,
Yeah, that wasn't a great response considering it's like this was one of, if not your biggest VTuber. You know exactly what she was about. Um, and there were people found tweets of him retweeting where this money was supposed to go and what this fundraiser was doing and everything. So it's like you knew where it was supposed
okay.
to go at some point. So yeah, it's very messy. What was very interesting, to bring it back to Sea Dog, obviously he was upset because he's worked with Iron Mouse on a lot of these like fundraisings and charities. So when Iron Mouse posted this announcement, she then posted a fundraiser for the Immune Deficiency Foundation.
Mhm.
That fundraiser has since raised at least $1.2 million. And this has been in
Amazing.
less than a week.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing, right? Um, and what a strong person it takes to be like, my life is imploding, right? Or my career, or like these people that I trusted have betrayed me, but now I want you to do this, and such a crazy amount of money. Um, so Connor posted a tweet about how like it's amazing to see this happen in such a difficult situation. Really supportive tweet. And then it gets misinterpreted by journalists, right? Which, again, sidebar, that we are not professionals for Gamer Social Club. However, we do our best to fact check everything and we don't just go on rumors and things like that.
Yeah.
Um, so they used the tweet where Connor is basically like, it's so great that out of something bad, this positive thing is happening. In this video, for this news site called The Hill, where The Hill was talking about this admitted fascist, right? Where he says, well, I must be a fascist, in some discussion with somebody else, where this guy kept going on and on and on, and he got fired from his job because the comments that he made on the show. So he
Oh yeah, I
started a
saw that.
fundraiser, right? So he
Yeah.
starts a fundraiser, and this company then says, oh, Connor Sea Dog VA posted this tweet about like how great, and it's like, no, those are two totally separate events. They have nothing
Because
to do with each other, right? Like, what?
why would you not think he was talking about Iron Mouse? Like, why
What?
would you not? Like,
Why would
he
you
talks
think
about
he's
Iron Mouse all the time.
all the time?
Like,
Why
yeah,
would you think he's talking about some random dude out in the US, right? Who said stupid shit and got fired, right? Like, play
yeah,
stupid games, win stupid prizes. Hello, right? Like,
yeah.
that's what
Why did you
happened
think
here.
being on the internet being like, yes, I'm actually a fascist, would go down well with anyone? Like,
Right. Right. So I'm just like, okay, so of course everybody sees this and everybody is like, oh my god, I can't believe this. And everybody is like commenting on the video on the hill and everybody's sending it to Connor and Connor live reacts on stream, right? And all these things happen. And they did eventually cut that piece, finally. But it was hysterical, right? And I was just like, I couldn't believe that that was happening. I was like, you know what? I may not be a professional journalist, but my God, at least I go through and double check things. Um,
yeah,
so tooting our own horns for the great work that we do, right?
absolutely. You will never find us accusing someone of being a fascist on the website, like for no reason.
And then like attributing it to the wrong fundraiser, right?
Yeah,
Like, oh my gosh. Um, and that's like the very quick recap of what is happening in that like VTuber sphere. So now there's a lot of really popular VTubers that are technically indies, and how that will impact them in the long run and all the merch, and kudos to a lot of them that have already started reaching out to artists and everybody else that they've worked with to basically say like, if you didn't get paid, let me know. And they are paying them like out of their own pockets and stuff like that, which again I think is like a testament to who these people like are and
yeah,
and what they're doing. Which is amazing and great, and kudos to anybody who has donated to that like 1.2, it might even be higher than that, for the Immune Deficiency Foundation. That's amazing, right? And there's a reason that like someone like Iron Mouse is like one of the top VTubers personality wise, and then the things that she does, and kudos to her. And before anybody sits here and tries to say that any of this isn't gaming related, I want you to know that V Shoujo and Iron Mouse have been in the video game Smite, so this is still tangentially gaming related.
yeah.
So,
And they stream video games. Come on,
all the time. All the
yeah.
time. So, you can't tell us. So, in the comments, don't even try to start that, because, again, I will do my research. I will know my stuff.
This is gaming news. This is gaming related news.
This is gaming related news. The number of people that have had, like, or the number of games that have had, like, Connor and Iron Mouse and everybody in that sort of bubble play their games or work on, like, gaming related stuff, it is still tangentially related.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it sounds like a really shitty situation. So I'm glad that it's not impacted them too much.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just fact check your sources. Like, just reach out to people. Like, what are
Fact
you
check your
doing?
sources. Like, if you're running a company, run it, like, well, or be transparent. Don't try to
Yeah,
cover, like, your shit. Don't money launder. And honestly, I feel like if it had just been issues with, like, payment to the talent, I think some of them might have, like, tried to stick it out. But don't
yeah,
take $500,000 from charity. Don't take any money from charity.
yeah. Don't steal from charity. Like,
Like,
just don't be that guy.
that's also, like, such a stupid practice, because I'm like, wait a second. You donate to charity and then you get a tax write-off, which
Yeah,
lowers like your taxable income. And if your company is already not doing so hot, don't you want to get as many tax breaks as you could? And I'm not like a tax person either. I don't know. In the US, I just take the standard deduction because I never have enough money to donate to actually do anything other than the standard deduction. I do donate to my different charities throughout the year, but like, I'm not donating hundreds of thousands of dollars because your girl ain't got it like that. So it's just like, just do the, if you gotta be a little skeezy, could you not do it to the charity, especially not the one that like your number one money maker? is like donating to. Like, just a thought.
Yeah,
Just put it
yeah.
out there.
Just try to be less skeezy.
Mm-hmm.
Is the lesson here. And also, don't steal money from charity. It's gross, and it makes you fucking gross. Like,
And watch how quickly people will turn, because oh, that turn has been that's been the thing
absolutely.
to watch. I'm like, oh, I would be running.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't be online being like, "Oh wait, it wasn't really my fault. I didn't mean it." Like, just be like, just log off. Actually, like,
Oh yeah, I don't
yeah,
even think the statement that came out from him was reviewed by lawyers, because I'm like, you probably can't afford any of them. So maybe you should have not said anything and just walked away.
yeah, yeah. Don't just admit to fraud. Just live on the internet. Like,
Yeah. But you know, the joke that somebody else made was like, how does it feel being a VTuber and knowing that VShojo is paying you the same amount it paid its talents?
that's fucking.
And I was like, it feels great. Yeah.
Thanks, thanks.
Thanks. Love that. Love that for me. Anyway, enough about that. Do you have a fantasy guest?
I do have a fantasy guest, so I'm going to default to one of my favorite voice actors of all time, which is the lovely Jennifer Hale. Who I'm sure if you have played video games or watched any animated show in the past, however many years, you should be familiar with.
I actually want to look
Um,
up how many years. Like, I'm gonna look
yeah,
this up.
well, I first probably thought that I first came across Jennifer Hale in Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, which is one of my favorite games of all time. But actually looking at all of the things she's been in, it was probably the Powerpuff Girls or Totally Spies or, all of the things that she's been involved in. I think a lot of people probably know her best as Femshep from Mass Effect. But yeah, I just think she's super, super talented. Love all of her work. Love all the stuff that she does to try and highlight the contributions of voice actors in the gaming industry and also in like media and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I do know because I follow her on Instagram that she loves renovating things. So we could
Oh.
absolutely have a little DIY day. We could invite Jennifer Hale to one of our houses and we could renovate a room a la Changing Rooms, if that is a show that was ever on the air in America.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Oh my
But yeah, you go and Changing Rooms, you like swap houses with your neighbors and then they like decorate a room for you, um, which I think is, and it never worked out well. All of the rooms were
God.
always hideous. Um, but yeah, I think we could have Jennifer Hale on. We're going to redo someone's. We could redo your streaming room. We could redo the office that I am planning on turning into a streaming room eventually. Once I build a desk and get my shit together.
Oh my God.
But I think that would be. We could drink wine and
Hell
chat
yeah.
about chat about renovations and all the video games she's been in while we paint and build shelves, which would be super fun.
Oh my God. Just looking at like the amount of stuff that she has done right now is wild.
Yeah,
Like,
I think a lot of the time when we talk about these things, it's like they have quite a long backlog. But the fact that if you go on Jennifer Hale's Wikipedia page under the filmography section, it has its own Wikipedia article
mm-hmm.
because it's so long. Um,
Oh my God.
yeah. Oh wait, I didn't realize she voiced Black Cat and Spider-Man the animated series from
That's
1995,
what I'm saying. Like,
and
as I'm looking at this, my gosh.
she also voiced a character in the old Iron Man cartoon that I watched every day before I went to school. Oh, this all makes sense now. Like Jennifer Hale's been in my life since
Forever.
1995. Like,
Literally forever. Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
yeah,
Yeah.
it would be really interesting to chat to her about how like the difference between voicing stuff in video games versus um voicing stuff for like films and TV
Yeah.
and all the animated stuff she's been in. But I think, she's been doing it for such a long time and always has done video games. It's not,
Mm-hmm.
she didn't make a switch over. She was doing video games at the same time and she was voicing like cartoons and stuff like that. So yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah. I think also to hear like a perspective on how she feels the industry has shifted in the last 30 years. Right? Like I think that would be a very interesting conversation to have from someone who has been in it for so long and is not talking about it from just like, a like not from the difference between someone who has actually been in it and lived it versus someone who is like, well, I know it used to be like this and now it's like this, right? Would
Yeah,
just be very, very different to hear, right? And to hear, I think also, what was it like in in some of her early days? What was it like, maybe what felt like the peak of things, right? What was it like pandemic and then post pandemic, and how are those maybe like four different time frames very
yeah,
different from each other? Because I have to imagine they probably all come with different pluses and minuses.
yeah. Especially like sort of probably when she started, you wouldn't. No one really knew voice actors. It's
Mm-hmm.
like you wouldn't know who voiced things in a video game or who voiced things in a cartoon and stuff like that. But now with like the Game Awards and like Best Performance Award and things like that, people are hyper aware of
Yes.
the really good work that voice actors do. So how is that changed, and how does she feel about that change? It's like being incredibly famous in her own right purely for her voice work, whereas
Mm-hmm.
previously she would have been a famous voice, but you might not know what she looked like. You might not know,
Yeah.
like, there's probably a lot of like anonymity to it when she first started. But now it's like, people know who their voice actors are. They know what they look like. They want to go and meet them at cons and stuff like that,
Yes.
which is probably less of a thing when she started voice acting. So that must be wild. Like,
Yeah. And and I would ask this to any of the voice actors that we've talked that we've mentioned, like, what is it like the first time that you see someone who is like cosplaying as a character that you voiced, right? Like, what is that
yeah,
feeling, right?
hmm
Because that probably has to be a really cool feeling,
yeah.
right?
I
Like,
can only imagine it would be. Yeah,
right, like, so do you remember that moment, and what was that moment like? What went through your head, and you know especially again because you wouldn't necessarily know for such a long time, and you'd have these conventions where maybe you saw people that were dressed as a character you voiced, but they didn't even know that you voiced it,
yeah,
right? So what is that shift? How has that impacted just so many different things, and the landscape has changed so much in a short amount of time,
yeah,
because I even think of, I've been going to different sorts of conventions since I was like 7, right?
yeah,
um and just as a convention goer, I see the difference in conventions and how they were, right? Some of them being very, outside of like the big like San Diego Comic-Con and stuff like that, like, you know, how they were more low key, and you would see different like comic artists or different, pop culture pieces, but it wouldn't be to the same extent that you see it now, right? Like,
yeah,
nerd culture, let's say, has just blown up, right? And
yeah,
it's cool to be a nerd now, and it's okay to have these nerdy interests, and everybody has these nerdy interests, right? But along with that means that these people who previously had a lot of anonymity no longer have that.
yeah,
So what is that
yeah.
shift, right? And when did they notice that was a shift that was happening, right? That's You won't be able to ask that question to a Ben Starr, but you can ask
No,
that question to her.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think she'd be a great guest. We should. I'm going to message her on Twitter. We're
Do it.
like, Jennifer Hale, please speak to us, please.
Speak to us. We really want you here.
Yeah, we have some really interesting questions. You should listen to Girl Pods and then think of your answers for the questions we're going to ask you. Like,
Right. I mean, I think it would be so cool to hear that, and just to, and again, like, knowing that this is someone who, even if I didn't always know it, right, has been part of like my consumer culture for so long,
yeah,
right? Like, that's huge, right?
yeah.
Like,
You
looking at her.
probably.
Oh yeah, looking at her
You've
Wikipedia,
got
I
to have
see
watched a TV show
the
or
the
played a
first
game
thing I
that she's
saw was
in.
Carmen Sandiego, and I was like,
Yeah.
I loved Carmen Sandiego. Like, what? Like, Carmen Sandiego was my shit. Like, from the actual like game show that they had, right, to like the cartoons, to the games. Like, I played those games. Like, so I'm like, I like, yeah, anything that was Carmen Sandiego that was out, I was watching it. I was in there. I was like, you know, so to be like, oh, like this is probably one of the first places that I would have heard her voice. And again,
Yeah.
like at the age of 7, like I don't know names of voice actors. It's just voices that I recognize, right? So I think it would be really cool to hear just all of that, because then it's also like, oh, in some ways as a consumer, I've grown up with this voice. This is a
Yeah.
voice that is familiar and can feel both nostalgic, but like I don't want to use the term home, right? But again, it's so familiar and comforting
Yeah.
in some ways to hear it for so long.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I need to just yeah. If you haven't checked it out, go and have a look at her filmography on Wikipedia. She'll have been in something that you've definitely played, and you might not even realize she was there. But then once you know it's there, you'll be like, "Oh yeah, no, I remember that." I mean, I've
Mm-hmm.
just seen that she was in a PlayStation 2 game called Orphan Scion of Sorcery, which I don't know if anyone has actually played because it was not actually a very good game. But me and my cousin played it every time we went to my grand's house and she brought her PlayStation 2 over. We would just sit and play this game and we were so bad at it. And we never got past like halfway through.
Oh
But
my
and I didn't
god.
even realize she voiced like one of the main characters in it. Just like,
And now you
damn,
know.
this is nostalgia. Yeah, now I know. And now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, oh no, she did voice Cleo. Like I remember now. I can hear it. Like that's wild. Like
Right? That's yeah. If you look through that filmography and you say I've never heard her voice in my life, you're a liar.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
telling
or
you
else
right
you
now,
just
you're a
like
liar.
yeah, you've just never actually played a video game or watched a cartoon potentially. Like
Okay, if somehow, you know what? I'll take it back. If you are someone who has recently left Amish country, I will believe
yeah.
you if you say that you have never heard her voice before. If you are anybody else, I refuse to believe you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't believe it. I think you're lying.
Ain't no way. There is just no way.
Yeah.
Point blank, sorry, not sorry.
Feel free to tell us in the comments if we are wrong and how that you have never actually watched or consumed any media in your entire life. Like
Or you know any good media?
yeah, there we go. We said it. Your taste is trash. Like if you've never heard Jennifer Hale's voice, you have bad taste in media. Like
Listen, I'll tell you like it is. It's my birthday. I'm right. So, if you tell me at the time of this recording, it's my birthday, I'm right. Mama didn't go through 32 hours of labor for me to be wrong on my birthday, okay? So, because she likes to tell me all the time how many hours she was in.
mums,
Yeah.
mums.
She likes to say it, so I've memorized it. But yes, you have, again, unless you have not consumed any good media ever, or you have just literally left, the Amish country and decided to use technology, and somehow this is the first podcast you stumble across, you've
Yeah.
heard her voice.
Yeah, absolutely.
V is also going to bring us our hot take today, because I am so ready to hear this. And you briefly mentioned this on the news podcast. I see. If you're just listening to this, you don't see V getting ready right now.
Right.
Bringing down the hair, getting in the zone. V briefly mentioned this on the news podcast with Mark this week, because they were a duo, and Wuchang, Fallen Feathers.
Yeah.
You
So
had the
the hot
pleasure of
take,
reviewing it.
I did have the pleasure of reviewing it. I gave it an 8 out of 10. I know there's some bits and bobs around people in the Chinese market not liking it because of historical accuracy or historical depictions. I don't know anything really about the historical climate or the political climate in China, so I'm not touching that. There's nothing. No, this is not the hot take. The hot take is, oh my god, women in video games are fucking allowed to be hot. Please stop with this. Like, this is ridiculous. Right, right. So there is a review. I have a pen.
I've been looking forward to this.
There was a review, a few reviews for it. If you didn't like the game because you thought it played bad, or the bosses were unbalanced, or you had some of the performance issues that were been happening, that's fine. I'm not saying you're not allowed to like games, even if it just didn't click with you. Also fine. But there was one specific review, but then some other ones that I looked at and the one specific review gave it a 9.7 out of 10. And the con that they had to it was that the game was Gunner approved. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, the other two, one gave it a 4 and the other one gave it a 6. And it was just paragraphs about the fact that the main character, Wuchang, is just catering to the male gaze and how this is terrible behavior. And I'm like, right, okay, I'm not out here saying that everyone has to be like Eve from Stellar Blade. I'm not saying that every single woman in a video game has to be a big titty anime lady. This is not what I'm saying. I think lots of things are hot. Like, we've spoke about this before. We'd probably fuck a table. Like,
listen, if that table does the right things and looks good, and, whatever. Just don't give me no splinters on the way.
But this is not about every video game character having to be hot. This is about the fact that now we're in such a fucking vile rabbit hole of shit on the internet that you can't make a game with a hot woman in it without other people coming in and being like, oh, well, women are just objectified and this isn't acceptable. And I'm like, I want to look at the big titty lady. I'm a woman. Is my opinion not valid? Do I hate women? Like, no, I fucking don't. I love women. They're terrifying, but I love them. Like I'll put it out. I am a bisexual woman. I love women. I love all sorts of different types of women. And if I want to look at Big Titty Lady and a game that is super fun with satisfying combat, why the fuck are you giving it a 4 out of 10 and then just telling me that I'm shit because I like the women? Like, because it's Gunner approved. Fuck off. Like, you've bought so much into this shit. And you know what's going to happen? I'm so mad. Like we all know at the moment that, or if you're not aware, like, there's been a big thing. Steam and itch.io have started removing games from their platform because the purity police are in, being like, oh, the payment processors won't let us process card payments if there are not safe for work games. So this started with a specific game that I'm not going to mention, and a lot of people were cheering it, and I'm like, I'm not saying I agree with what that game was putting forward or any of its themes or anything like that, but if you give these, like, I think the name of the focus group or the activist group is called Collective Shout or something like that. If you give these people an inch, they will take everything away from you.
Yeah.
So if you're like, I don't agree with this because of the way that people are depicted in it or how it treats women and stuff like that, don't buy the game and feel free to tell people that it's a shit game and they should not support it. That's absolutely your right. If you're advocating that we should then get rid of it, we should censor this, then they're just going to take it and they're going to be like, yeah, and while we're at it, censor this and censor this. So itch.io this week took down basically anything that was tagged not safe for work. So including, your lovely little queer romance games. Like, and it's not long until these people are then like, oh no, you also can't have fucking violence in games. And then you're just like, then we just don't have games. Like, why is everyone in Hades allowed to be hot? And that's fine. But if like a subset of men on the internet want to go and wank to Eve from Stellar Blade's arse, that's unacceptable. I'm like, Stellar Blade was a good game. I'll fucking say it. Just because don't let your gaming experience be ruined by a bunch of fucking chuds on Twitter who are just like, I'm going to play it because of her bum. And it's like, okay, that's fine. Let them do that. And if they want to just be shit about gaming in general and say, oh, with the women in Star Wars Outlaws, not hot, like we shouldn't support it. It's just like, ignore them.
Mm-hmm.
They're on fire and you're throwing oxygen at it because you think that you have to address their opinion. You don't, but you also don't have to say that everybody else is a fucking gooner because they think women are hot. So that is my hot take. It was a long hot take. I'm so sorry, but fuck me.
No, but it's all valid. The thing is, it's all valid, right? And when I saw that, when it was like, oh, it's Gunnar approved, I was like, okay, but what is inherently wrong with that? So some dudes, you know, wanna wank it to a hot girl in a video game. Okay, I'm gonna go back to last week or the week before last, whatever it was, when I was like, yo, video game sex is safe sex. You want to look at a character in a game and be like, yo, she's hot. I need a few minutes in the bathroom with some lotion or whatever. Fine, whatever. Enjoy it. I don't care, right? Like, enjoy it. If it's not your type, it's not your taste, fine, then don't enjoy it and just play the game for the gameplay. Like, that's cool, right? It is insane that it's like the characters are either too hot or not hot enough, right? And you're not going to appease everybody because everybody has different taste, and that's fine. But if your complaint is that it's Gunnar approved, the character is too hot, right? Maybe you need to take a good look at yourself and wonder why that's a problem to you. Like, why is that a problem? Like, there are hot people that exist out in the world. Are you going to censor them too? Are you going to send them to the gallows because they're too hot for you to look at and you have to, like, rank them down? Like, what are you doing? Like, that just doesn't make sense. Maybe just get out of your mama's basement and learn how to exist. Like, maybe that's what you need to do.
You do. You do need to do that. Like, the world is not online. And these people who only that go in the opposite direction, they're like, all video game women have to be perfect and stuff like that.
No.
They're not getting girlfriends and stuff like that. You don't need to worry about, and yeah, there is like some inherently bad takes about, and a lot of them are vile creatures and should not be given the time of day. But then to be like anyone who wants hot people in their video game, unless it's hot approved, you know, like a Hades or something like that, it's like, oh well, they're now a villain. It's like you're not winning anyone over. You're just saying like, oh, if you like that game, you're a gooner, and it's like,
okay, so what?
Okay. What do you want from me? Like, you know, if you play Marvel Rivals, then you hate women. It's like, no, Venom is caked up. Like,
Venom's got an ass. Okay, look. Listen. Here's the thing. I'm not a bisexual woman, right? I'm straight. However, I can appreciate, right, a very good-looking woman. I can appreciate a good-looking shape on a woman, right? And Emma Frost has hips for days in Marvel Rivals, and you know what? Get it, girl. Okay?
Yeah.
Fine. Like, I'm not gonna be upset at it. Yeah, like, I'm not gonna be upset at it, right? Like, go for it. Enjoy it, right? That's the way that they wanted to, like, show the character off. Okay, cool. Show it off. Like, you know, it's not going to change the way that she plays the game, right? And if it changes the way that people react to the game because suddenly they're so distracted, maybe you need to get off the internet every once in a while. Or maybe you do need to take those 10 minutes and pull up something on XTube and go to the bathroom, right? I don't know. Go clear your head. I hear post-nut clarity is fantastic for boys. Go do it then. I don't know, right? But like, not to like be like, oh well, this game sucks because of this, and now I can't play it because it's Gunnar approved and whatever. You know what game is blowing up with lots of women everywhere? That Love in Deep Space, right? And you know why it's blowing up? Because girls and guys and non-binary people who are into that sort of aesthetic finally have something that they can be like, this is for my gaze, right? And I'm very specifically saying my gaze and not like the male gaze or the female gaze, because that makes it sound like there's only two perspectives, and there are so much more than that, right? So it's like you are finally getting a game where it's like, it's not just about the hot woman, it's about this, you know, these hot, I haven't played Love in Deep Space, so I don't know enough about it, minus what I've seen, but I've seen some of those cutscenes that, oh boy, they are spicy. Right there. Whew. You know, but it's like, so there's a game for that, right? So But nobody is saying turn around and cancel this, right? Nobody is saying like, oh, this is unrealistic. Of course it's unrealistic, right? Of course it is. But that's why it is meant to be a fantasy, right? So
Yeah.
you can enjoy it, right? And not have to worry about like, oh, like it's Guna approved. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. Like why are we at a point where we just can't enjoy things, right? There will be something out there for your gaze, right? For your view of what is hot and what is whatever, right? Go and enjoy it, right? And do not be one of those people that's then like, well, this is too hot. Because there's gonna be somebody else who's gonna look at it and be like, bro, that's not hot. Like, I don't know what
Yeah.
you're talking about, right? Like, why do we have to censor all of these things? And if we do have to censor things, right? And when I say censor things, I'm saying, yes, maybe an 8-year-old shouldn't be on XTube or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And maybe it's because of the way that I grew up that I have a very different like perspective on things. That sort of censorship should not be in the power of people that are outside of that home, right? That sort of censorship should
Yeah.
be coming from parents, right? That sort of censorship should be families sitting down and having the conversation, right? And reminding your kids that this is a fantasy, right? That this is this, that this is age appropriate, set some boundaries, right? Set some guidelines, and then like watch it with your kid, play it with your kid, like work through it with your kid. That way, you have well adjusted people as they continue to grow, and not the gremlin in mama's basement who's like, this character is so hot that I can't do anything and I don't know how to feel about it, so it sucks and I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10. Like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. You're just outing yourself as maladjusted at this point. Like.
Right. You are. And like, because I think about like growing up, right? And my parents didn't like, obviously they didn't show me anything and everything under the sun, but they also didn't hide things from me, right? So like, and there were very specific boundaries of the ways that like we did things until they felt I was like old enough and mature enough, right? So like I remember growing up, we had only, and granted we didn't have like Wi-Fi and stuff like this, but growing up, right, there was one computer that was hooked up to the internet and it was in the family room, right?
Yeah.
So if I was going to be online, right,
No gunning allowed in the family
they
room.
could
Come
see
on.
what I was looking at, right? They were there. They would see it. And if there was something that was questionable, they'd be like, what's this? And we'd have a conversation, right? And now I am a
Absolutely.
kid who got in trouble with AOL because this is how old I am, right? I am a kid who got in trouble with AOL a lot of times because I was running a Backstreet Boys newsletter that I was sending to hundreds of people and I kept getting flagged for spam, right? Again, I'm an old person, right? So like but
Sorry, that's amazing.
listen, I've said this to Dano, and I guess this is like one of the ways that it manifested when I was a kid. Like I've always wanted to like write and do like journalism type stuff, right? Didn't go to school for it or anything like that. So somewhere along the way, I guess I lost the image, but like so that was something I always wanted to do. So like when I was young, it was like a newsletter and then like the school newspaper, and it manifested itself in different ways. But so like I was the kid that was constantly getting trouble with AOL, right? So it's not like I wasn't on the internet, and it's not like I wasn't doing these things. And yes, occasionally I found myself in chat rooms that like maybe I shouldn't have been in, but there was a good enough relationship between me and my parents that like if things were questionable, I was able to be like, what does this mean? What is this? And then we would have a conversation, right?
Yeah.
I will never forget my parents and my sister did not, I have a younger sister, but she didn't come to this because she was not good in movie theaters. We went to see There's Something About Mary, right? Yes. So if you've ever seen There's Something About Mary, there's the scene where he's jerking off in the bathroom before his date, right? Now, young me doesn't know what that is, right? And I
Yeah.
remember like turning to my dad and being like, what is he doing? Right? Because I truly didn't get it, right? Because I'm young, right? And we're literally in the theater and my dad is telling me like, well, when you're older, some people start to feel certain ways and they play with themselves, to like go through, and I didn't have a full image of like what that meant. And of course he's trying to tell me in like the quickest way, because again, we're sitting in a movie theater, right?
Yeah.
And my reaction, again, because I'm young, is like, ew, that's gross. Okay, right? Because I'm pretty sure he said something, he's playing with his privates, and I was like, that's gross, right? Because again,
Yeah.
kid eyes, right? But that was it, right? There was no like trying to sugarcoat it. There was no hiding it. But because there was, and he didn't tell me, well, he's grabbing this and do it, right? He's just like a very simple, like, explanation of what is happening, so that my young self can understand it in a way that makes enough sense that I'm like, oh, okay, right? But there was that level of trust and communication that I never had to feel like I can't ask the question. I never have to
Yeah.
feel like I have to hide it from him or feel ashamed, right? So, of course, as I got older and the internet just became more accessible and all these other things happened, right? I could ask those questions, right? And we could have a conversation about it. And that in itself, I think, is so key, and what so many people miss, right? That without that, you end up with these people that end up being so, we have to censor everything out of a sense of shame and like concern, or not knowing how to have that conversation, right?
Yeah.
Or we end up with people that are like so far on the other side where they're constantly searching for the next thing to surprise them because they're so desensitized to everything, and they don't actually like know or understand or care about like the ramifications of certain things and the way they
Yeah.
address things and the way they say things, right? So that's like so you have the censors, and then you have the people that are saying the really awful things that they would do to these fictional characters and like scaring everybody else off, right? There has to be a middle ground. But I think a lot of
Yeah.
that really truly starts at home.
Absolutely. And I think you're absolutely right, because both sides of the coin come from a lack of communication about either sex education or respect for
Mm-hmm.
people and other things. Because you're going to end up, and I keep seeing things online, and it's about Gen Z, and I'm not going to be here to be like, oh, Gen Z's bad or anything like that. Like, they sound great. Like, and I've got a lot of friends who would be Gen Z, but it's just like they are more like Puritan or such, like more
Mm-hmm.
prudish than potentially like millennials and stuff are. And it's like, but yeah, it's because you are pushing for the responsibility to be taken away from parents,
Mm-hmm.
um, so that they just can't see anything at all. But it's because you don't want to have that conversation with them. You don't want to actually parent them to then say, this is acceptable, this is not acceptable, we're having the conversation. And then you know what's going to happen, because people, when they grow up, and I know a lot of Gen Z is like in their 20s and stuff like that now, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like, as the next generation stuff grows up, if people are gonna bang, they're gonna do it. Like,
Yes. Yes.
and if they have no formal sex education or conversations with their parents about things like safe sex and boundaries and respect, then just because they don't see it on the internet because you've banned it all doesn't mean they're not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just going to have no idea what they're doing, and you're going to have teen pregnancies, people are going to get hurt, like, because they're trying new things without knowing any of the risks about it, because
Mm-hmm.
you're not just taking away like the gooner bait on the internet. It goes full circle into, then there's no educational resources, there's
Yes.
nothing there's no sex education allowed in schools and stuff. It's just like, oh, so this is what we want. Like, just pretending that no one has ever had sex ever in the history of life, and no one ever talks about it, and we all just sit and we're like, oh, actually, women aren't allowed to be hot, and men aren't allowed to be horny, and women aren't allowed to be horny, and men aren't
Mm-hmm.
allowed to be hot, and sex is bad actually, and you're going to hell. Like, and it's just like,
Right.
is this what we want? Like, no one's allowed to be horny anymore. And think of the children. Think of the children has never helped the children, and the people that say it don't fucking care about the children.
Mm-hmm.
They just care about controlling what everybody else
Yes.
does for their own moral boundaries. And they're not my moral boundaries, and they're
No.
certainly they shouldn't be your moral boundaries either. Like, let people do what they want
Look,
within
yes.
don't
Within reason.
don't don't murder anyone. No murdering allowed. No.
Right.
But
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. Like
yeah,
that's the thing. It's just like, everybody has their own different boundaries, and you should have safe spaces to explore those, right? And I think for some people, some of those safe spaces can be in video games and in this other media, right? Like, as silly as this is going to sound to some people, right? Some of these like dating games and otome games and things like that, right? They are a healthy way of figuring out like what is your boundary? What is your interest, right? But what
Mm.
is, you can find out like what is your boundary? Do you like the character who speaks down to you? Are you all about the tsundere? Are you into the yandere? Like, what are you
Yeah.
looking for, right? And it's a safe space because at the end of the day, nobody's getting hurt, right?
Yeah.
So, these can be exploratory ways, but again, there also needs to be that level of conversation and communication of this is a game, right? This is not how it's going to happen in the real world, but you can see some examples of this, right? You can see, like, is this your vibe? No. Okay, cool, great. There's another character 2 scenes down that maybe will be your vibe or something, right? Like, and you can explore these things in ways that are just so much better instead of just these, like, well, I'm doing this and this is what's happening. And, and this is the boundary that I'm setting for everybody because I think everybody should really do this and feel this way. And it's like, but that's okay to be your boundary if that truly is your boundary, right? What it sounds like you want is control. And you know what? In a healthy relationship, there is a way to play with the dynamics of control, right? Play with the dynamics of control in the bedroom with the safe word. I don't care if your safe word is dingleberries or dinglehopper or whatever the hell you want your safe word to be, right? But there
Yeah.
are ways, if control is what you're looking for, there are ways to do that, right? But not to repress everything, not to like hold everything back. And again, I'm not saying that you need to be all out there and be like, listen, I am, a BDSM person. And like, I'm not saying you have to put all of that out there, day one. You don't need to wear it on your sleeve. You don't need to be a walking billboard for it unless you want to. Again, your own personal boundaries, right? But there is a way to do that and have that exist that is still like okay, right? And that doesn't hurt anybody, right? But that has to be something that is communicated and talked about and practiced, right? And to just be like, well, we're going to ban everything and it's going to be fine. It's not going to be fine. It's going to be worse. It's
Yeah.
going to be worse. And like, I'm sorry, all these countries where it's like, the birth rate is going down. Yeah, no shit. You don't let people like explore themselves and their sexuality and everything else, but then you still want them to pop out babies.
Yeah. It's just like
Hello?
you're not allowed to be horny. You're only allowed to have sex for procreation only. Like,
Yeah, well then
it's like
we don't need men. We just need a turkey baster then. Like what do you want? Like
it's no, it's so wild. And again, it will never like don't think because they've banned the thing or they've censored the thing that you don't like, that the next thing they won't censor is the thing that you do like.
mhm.
So, because they won't there's no stopping
No.
when it's like these people who are like fundamentalists and they want control of things. It won't just stop at like the really hardcore stuff that you don't agree with or the BDSM stuff. It will then just be like, no queer stuff,
Mhm.
no like none of this, no titties, no ass, just nothing at all. And then it then goes into, oh, actually, you can't say this, or like,
Mhm.
yeah, no guns in games, no, like this debate about video games like ruining people's minds has been happening since video games existed, and it's certainly been happening since I was a child.
Mhm.
Um, about video games cause violence and now video games cause violence towards women or video games cause and it's like no they don't. As Candy says, a lack of communication
Yes.
causes these because if people can't speak to someone about it and be told that their way of thinking is maybe a bit messed up and potentially they should address it, and you can have that open and honest conversation and help people if they're having like bad thoughts or anything like that, then you can't be surprised when like everyone's just fucked up because you're not allowed to have conversations, but there's no healthy outlet for people to actually deal with the stuff that they're
Exactly.
dealing with also. Like,
Exactly. That's like, I think that's the thing. It's like a healthy outlet, right? What does that look like? What is that in practice, right? That needs to be something that I think people strive for, and we don't do that. Like, you know, I'm and I don't know enough about it, right? So obviously I have to defer to you or anybody else who wants to talk about it. But I know there's the new law that passed in the UK with like verification and all this other stuff, right? And I just keep hearing about it, and I'm like, one, it is amazing to me that it happened in the UK first, right? I'll be quite honest. The fact that it didn't happen here first with
mm,
everything else, but I guess we're too busy with the stupid Epstein files at this point. Just release them and call it a day. Like,
mm.
so whatever. Like, I'm surprised that it didn't happen here first with the overall trajectory of things in the U.S. And I'm not going to dive into politics, but to hear the fallout of that and to hear how it's actually like going down from an outsider perspective, because I feel like it's the first time that people in the US get to be the outsider of something that sounds batshit crazy, right? It's just
Absolutely
like,
insane.
it's just like, what? Like, to censor all these things, because people aren't censoring or having these conversations at home, right?
Mm.
And to find better ways to go about it is wild.
Yeah,
It's
it
just
is wild.
wild.
So we've discussed like previously on podcasts that I pay for. I subscribe to quite a lot of Patreons. Some of them are about like Sudoku and stuff. I'm not sexually attracted to Sudoku puzzles. I just think they're fun. But like there are a few spicy Patreon accounts that I support artists who are making some very lovely content on. And this morning, Discord asked me to scan my face to prove I was over the age of 18 to comply with the Online Safety Act because people in the UK have done the whole, not the people of the UK, the lawmakers in the UK have done the whole, won't somebody think of the children act to then say that me as an adult woman are not allowed to look at um, porn on my phone or at all. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just a bit like, okay, so why don't you fucking look after your children? I don't have
Right.
any. I'm a 34-year-old woman. And if I want to access the content that I have paid for of like some spicy animated pictures,
Yeah.
then why should I have to give you my personal information to do so? Like, wild and wildly inappropriate. Such an overreach from
Mm-hmm.
the British government. I signed a petition about it earlier. I do hope that neither of my parents watch this podcast to just be knowing that I'm just spending my money on animated porn.
You
But
work hard for your money, you spend it on whatever you want to spend it on.
but yeah, it's just like, so why? And I obviously this is not everyone who has children. Like most people are sensible and they have these conversations with their children,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a few people that don't.
Yeah.
Then these are none of this was put through in any sort of good faith to think about the children. It was so that they can be like, no, you're a dirty little pervert and like you're morally wrong and you're not allowed to look at these things. Like otherwise you need to send us your data so we know you're a dirty little pervert. It's like I'll tell you I'm a dirty little fucking pervert. Like you don't need to see my passport photo. Just ask. I'll show you what's on my phone. I'm not ashamed of it. There's nothing fucking illegal or anything there. It's like if you didn't want people to see it, like if you're ashamed, if you've got nothing to hide, and it's like giving over personal and data to a third party company that might sell it or leak it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean, and me not being okay with that doesn't mean I've got something to hide. It means that nobody fucking wants that. Why should they be able to sell my data to
Yeah.
someone else because I, as a consenting adult, want to look at fucking other consenting adults bang.
Right. I mean, that's the thing that is so insane to me, right? That it's just like, well, because of the kids. It's like it has nothing to do with the kids, right? And again, it's like one of these things where it's like, Well, do you want the kids looking at porn? No, I don't want kids looking at porn.
I want to look at porn.
But you know what? If their parents aren't going to have a conversation with them, then maybe they should learn it somewhere besides out on the streets or in the back of an alley or in someone's car. Like,
Yeah,
you know what? If that's your argument, also, like, can we stop with it being the porn all the time? There are so many worse things on the internet. How about all the murder videos? Right? No,
yeah.
every time you hear an example, it's like, well, do you want kids looking at porn? Well, sex is a part of natural life, isn't it? They wouldn't have been here if someone didn't have sex to spawn those little bastards. So, like, what do you mean? Right?
It's like, yeah, of course, I don't want kids looking at porn. I'm at no point. I sometimes see children. I have a niece and nephew. At no point am I like whipping my phone out, being like, look at that. Like, because that's fucking weird and
Mm-hmm.
illegal and horrifying. But also, I'm not, as you say, I'm not whipping my phone out and being like, oh, look at this photo of this man being beheaded, which I
Right.
saw on the internet when I was a fucking child. Like,
100%.
you know, but it's just like if you don't want your kids to see porn, then there's a lot of parental controls that you can put on all
Yes.
digital devices, and it's not going to say that children will not try and find things because they're crafty, they're
And they're
smart,
curious. And you
and
know
they're
what?
curious.
If you have a curious child, embrace the curiosity of your child and do it with age appropriate content. And again, have the conversation.
Yeah,
Have the conversation with that kid. Talk to your kid, right? And maybe we shouldn't be a generation of parents that are just like, oh, little Tommy is crying, here's an iPad.
yeah,
Like, maybe
absolutely.
engage them. You decided to carry that kid for 10 months, right? You decided to like have that kid be a parasite in your womb for 10 months because that's what it is at the end of the day, right? Like, you decided to do all this because you wanted to love a child. Well, don't just love a child, educate that child, respect that child, engage that child, right? Do more than just here's an iPad, here's the TV screen. And I'm someone who was raised in front of a TV screen a lot, but next to me on the couch was a parent or an
Yeah,
adult that would have a conversation, right? Not that the TV or the screens or whatever were raising me, that then there was questionable content, right? Like that is not what was there. And then to censor things and be like, well, this oversight company is going to censor things. No. And if you don't know if the content itself is safe for your kid, right? Tell
watch it
your
first.
kid, like, can we hold off on this? Watch something else. I want to take a look at this, right? Watch it first. Or, and I have been this person for some of my friends where if they don't know it, but they know that I know it because like I have friends who are not anime people, but their kids are anime people, right? So they will be like, "Hey, is this anime safe for my kid?" Right? And because I'm like their adopted like auntie, right? I know where they are in their lives, right? I know enough about the kids to be like, well, here are the things that I would consider, right? If you feel right that they are okay with this, blah blah blah, right? Like the first big one that came up uh was Danganronpa, right? And I love these games, right? I love them, love them,
Yeah,
love them. Which happy 15th anniversary Danganronpa. Like I love them, but I remember when my friend asked me about them, I was like, well, yes, it's an anime. It's also a game. It's a murder game. Here are some things. Some of the murders are a little unsettling, blah, 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 blah. Right. And I was like, if you think, right, after hearing all of this, that like your kid is okay to like play or watch it, fine. Right. I would be a little, and I remember like being, I would be a little hesitant, right?
mhm,
Just because of, and again, it's like pink blood. It's not red, but I'm like, I remember the first death, and it's 15 years, but I'm not gonna spoil it. I remember the first murder scene after a trial in Danganronpa, and I had a hard time like watching it because I could
yeah,
feel it because of how visceral it was, right? And I
mm,
just remember being like, I feel like I am the person being killed by Monokuma right now because I can imagine what this feels like, and
yeah,
that was a little unsettling, right? The murders do get more fantastical and a little further away from people being able to feel that, in my opinion. But that first one, I was like, ooh, so I just remember being like, here's here's what you need to know. And there are actually websites that do this for people, right?
Yeah.
So that you can also say, let me see what this website has said, and do I think that my kid can handle these things that are on there, right? So people have already looked at the content for you if you really don't have the time to look at it, right? And you can decide, can my kid handle a murder game, right? Maybe at 12, they cannot handle a murder game. Maybe at 12, they shouldn't watch Death Note, right? Maybe they shouldn't play
Yeah.
Slender Man because we know that was a big thing that came up in the States, right? Like,
Mhm.
maybe we shouldn't do those things, but maybe some of these other things are okay, right?
Yeah.
And I just think there's a way better way than saying, all right, big company that I have no ties to, that is just preaching on the internet about games that people should or shouldn't play. You tell me what shouldn't be there. And you lawmakers, like, tell me that I can't access these things without giving you all of my, information. Or, which I've seen, which I've seen a lot of, and I don't know if it's true, but it makes me laugh. Um, Using photo mode in Death Stranding 2 to upload a picture of Norman Reedus in the game and using that for the face verification. Now, whether or not that's true, I don't know, but that is so funny. And
Yeah.
I've seen it pop up multiple places, so might be some truth to it. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Just being like, I'm just gonna fire up Wuchang Fallen Feathers and use her face. I'll be like, there you go. Like,
It's so. I know a few people from the UK that are like, I finally caved and got a VPN. And I was like,
I've
that's
always
insane.
I do have a VPN, but I had a VPN anyway because I like to watch things on different
Yeah,
from different countries.
yeah,
Like,
and if you had a VPN already, like, but I know some people that are like, I finally caved and did it because like this is just insane. And I'm like,
yeah,
the fact that this is where it's gone, and again, the UK might be the first, and unless this gets like repealed, revisited very quickly, I don't think they'll be the last.
no, definitely not. Which is terrifying because it's
Yes.
just the most annoying and terrifying thing about it is that when it's things that people don't agree with, they will happily cheer on the
Mm-hmm.
slippery slope that is extreme censorship
Yes.
until and I know people talk about this all the time on Twitter, and it's usually people that are pretty misinformed, because when you are removing things like death threats and hate speech, it is not actually literally 1984. um But things like this are a slippery slope into things
Mm-hmm.
like thought policing and telling you you're not allowed to like things or do things that you like.
Mm-hmm.
Um, telling people that you want to kill them is not that. Like being told that you're not allowed to be on a private company's website for saying, "I hope that well, I'm going to kill you," is not the same
Mm-hmm.
as being forced to share all of your personal information because you want to access stuff on the internet that you should be able to access. Yeah.
100%. 100%. Like, I don't know. It's so it's just so bizarre to me. I hope that it gets like repealed, overturned. Like instead could they just like send brochures to people's houses that have kids that say like here how to use some parental controls and call it a day? Like, like maybe you have a parent who's not very like tech savvy. Just teach them how to use parental controls for their kid and teach them how to have conversations. Put money into some parenting classes for people. I don't know, but like don't
Yeah.
censor it for everybody else and make it for everybody else to have these issues. It's just it's I mean, it's unreal to me that this is how far like society, I know again, I know right now that is in the UK, but I could see it being other places, so that's why I'm going to say society. To see where society is that like we just sort of outsource like dealing
Oh
with
no,
kids content everywhere else.
absolutely. Yeah, no, and it's crazy. And bringing it all the way back to the rant at the beginning, this is the sort of shitty, slippery slope that you get
Mm-hmm.
onto when you're like, video game women are too hot and it shouldn't be allowed, and it's a bad thing if people want a goon. Like
Yeah.
you are then part of a problem that leads to these sort of very extreme solutions being put in place.
Mm-hmm.
Because instead of just having conversations with people and putting up your own boundaries and ignoring people that don't have the same or your best interests at heart, you're essentially saying that I would rather this be not allowed so I don't have to deal with another person or deal with something that makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. It's enjoy your goon. You know what? You want to goon to something, enjoy it. Like, don't. I just feel like you shouldn't be ashamed. 99% of the time, you shouldn't be ashamed to be like, I enjoy X thing, right?
No.
Like, you enjoy the chick in Wuchang? Great. You enjoy the chick in Stellar Blade? Great. Enjoy, right? Like, I could care less about that, right? Now, I do care if you're like, I enjoy the chicks in Sailor Moon, because I'm like, hold up, them are teenagers, right? Like,
we don't support this.
I don't support that, right? Like, that's where I'm like, hold up, wait. You want to goon to the characters in Hades? All right, have fun, whatever.
They're hot.
Right? And I know that anime has a lot of questionable tropes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some of those you should keep to yourself, right?
Yep.
The 4,000-year-old goddess that looks like she's 5. Slippery slope.
I don't want to. Yeah,
Slippery
I don't want
slope.
to. I don't want to associate with you if that's what you think you should be gooning to.
Right? But like the very clearly adult women that are like in video games that happen to be attractive, right? While also kicking ass. Maybe you just are attracted to a kick-ass woman. Did you ever think that? That's not a bad thing. Right?
No,
that's
just,
hot.
You don't understand. They're just simply too attractive. They're too hot.
They're too hot. Like, it's
the women are too hot, and you can put them in skimpy outfits, and we just can't have that. We're not allowed that because that's objectification. And I'm like, but wait, so I hate women apparently because
it's crazy. I hate women because they're too hot and people are objectifying them. If there are people who want to be objectified, right? Yeah. And I know that sounds crazy, but there are people who literally are like, I am dressing this way to get the attention, right?
Yeah. And if they're in a committed, safe space where everyone's agreed upon that, and as you say, there's like controls and stuff like that involved, then people are allowed to do that.
Yes.
Like, that's allowed.
That is allowed. Like, if that is their turn on, their kink, whatever it is, right? Like, are you telling that person who may or may not be a woman that they're in the wrong?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, they're wrong. Everyone is wrong unless they agree with me.
Right. It's like, no, maybe you're just the asshole.
Yeah. It's like people have choices. People are allowed to make those choices.
Yes.
And not everyone who looks at video game women are like, oh, damn, this game's really fun, but also the character's really hot, and I'm gonna take a screenshot of whoever climbing a ladder. Okay. They're not catcalling you in the street. They are not the people that they're like, oh, this is either funny because it's like, damn, why have you done this? Or it's just like, they're like, oh, she's a hot character. I'm going to put her in like some fashion and take some screenshots, which I definitely did when I was playing Wuchang. It's just like,
you are allowed to.
Yeah, I'm not going to sexually harass you. I'm just going to look at the hot woman from Wuchang. Like, come on.
Yes. And again, it's like the safe way is to look at the hot girl on the screen and be like, great, it's a fictional character. She looks good. She kicks ass, and you're having a good time. Enjoy, right? If you can't play the game because she's just too damn hot, then save your $70.
Yeah, you don't need to play it. It's fine. Like, you're allowed to do whatever you want. Just don't tell me what I'm not allowed to do.
Right. Right. I think that's just the craziest thing. Like, you can't play it because she's hot, save your money. You can't play it because she can run around in her panties, well then put her in a suit of armor. Like, that's not the only outfit that she has.
Yeah, you can put her in full plate. Like, there is armor. You can make her head look like a centipede.
Yeah. You can make it look
Like,
like whatever you want.
yeah, you don't need to make her super hot. Like,
You can forget there's a girl under there.
yeah,
Like, just it's I think that's like what's crazy to me, that it just becomes such an issue, and then we end up with these censors and this censorship, and there really is no end to it. And I think
no,
people think there's the end, but there is no end. And you are foolish if you think there's an end. And this is, and again, I know I keep like teetering on the edge, and I'm not going to get political, but this is the same thing that happens in politics. It's the same thing that happens in like society, and it's now the same thing that's happening in video games. If you let one group of people have the power to decide what is okay and not okay for one topic, they are going to continually do it for every topic that they do not agree with, right?
yeah,
And maybe you missed it on the first episode of this podcast, but I don't want to just sit here and play Stardew Valley all day because that's the only thing that's acceptable. Because fuck that.
no, definitely not. I'll
Like,
just stop playing video games. Absolutely not.
yeah, like, no, I will just walk away. I will just go back to old school D&D and tabletop, and maybe I'll go and become a LARPer or something, but I will not just be
Yeah,
sitting here playing cozy ooh-woo games all day every day. Right? Like,
no,
it's not who I am, right? It's not the games I want to play. Or it's not the games that I want to play all the time, right? I don't mind them every once in a while, but it's not the games that I want to play all the time. Again, assuming I can put some chaos in them. So I think that's really the important thing. Like, don't forget that what they say is not okay, while you may agree with one thing that's not okay, when they start coming for what you want, you've already given them too much power,
yeah,
and you cannot walk that back.
absolutely, absolutely.
So fight it at the first hurdle.
Yep.
Don't let them move forward. Get your own parental controls. Don't buy the games that you don't like. If she's too hot for you, sorry, not sorry, just don't play it. Go play, I don't know, something else. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know
go.
what's a
Yeah,
game
just
with,
go.
like, go play Twisted Metal or something. I don't know. There's no people in that.
Yeah.
Unless you're
Yeah,
attracted to the clown car. I
I'm
don't
sure
know.
there probably is. I'm sure someone is. But but again, if they are, that's also fine.
It's fine. I just think of the clown car because I know that's like a big fear that, like, I know a lot of people are scared of clowns. I don't know
Yeah.
why. But I don't know.
No, me neither. Actually, I'm not really afraid of clowns. So
Yeah.
yeah, if you're afraid of clowns, please explain in the comments.
Yeah, because I'm curious. I'm curious because I don't get
Yeah.
it. But I know there's also, like, I have a very big fear of spiders, and people look at me like, why do you have fear of spiders? And I'm like, I don't know, but they terrify me. So,
Yeah, it's a
whatever.
phobia. I have the same one. I think it's because I watched Alien when I was very young.
That
And
just did it in.
I'm just like, oh no, that's a small face hugger, and you can't convince me otherwise. Like,
That's valid. I never thought of them as
mm,
small face huggers, but now I see that.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, terrifying
Yeah, I never saw that before. Okay. I wonder if that's where
with
some
their
of the
little
inspiration came from.
articulated legs and just like scurrying about the place. Terrifying.
Interesting. I'll never look at them the same way again.
It's okay. You were already afraid of them, so it's not going to make it worse.
I know, right? It's true. It's true. But now will I look at the face huggers and be like, that's just a giant spider?
I mean, you weren't already afraid of face huggers, like.
I don't know if I was afraid of it, or unsettling.
Yeah.
I'd say unsettling for sure. I don't know if I would say full on afraid. Now I feel like I need to go back and watch an alien movie and be like, how do I feel
Big
about
spider.
this?
Big flesh spider.
Ew.
Ugh.
Gross. Well, now it's our game recommendation, which I didn't actually think of a recommendation, but tangentially to this conversation, I have a general idea.
Okay.
It'll be a live recommendation. Normally, we try to give recommendations ahead of time, and then we talk about the recommendations. We did not do that this time around.
No, we
But
can do live recommendation today.
yeah, I think tangentially to this conversation, since we've talked a little bit about it, and we've talked about like the gooning, what if
Yep.
we try Love in Deep Space?
Okay, I'm up for that. I'm definitely up for that. Yeah. Let's
Right?
see what all the fuss is about with these spicy scenes that I've been seeing on
Yes.
Reddit.
Yeah,
Let.
it is a gotcha game, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I know that the way that it works is that you basically can unlock different dates with the characters, right? I know that's like part of it, and some of the dates are very spicy, some of them are not so spicy. Um, but I think like almost like a part two to some of this like conversation, it would be interesting to see like because a lot of it has been the hot girl in games. Not to say that there haven't been hot men in games, right? But
Yep.
there have been historically it's the hot girl in games, right? So I'm curious, like, is this really all that? Is this Gunnar approved? And to use that
Yep.
term again. Right? And what does that like what does that look like in
Yep.
a game like this? And I I've played some gotcha games. I don't know how many gotcha games you've played.
Not a lot, although I do have a huge obsession with Pokemon TGC Pocket, which I assume falls under the sort of gacha umbrella, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I would put that under I would put that under gotcha in like a in a tangential way because it is still very much like the deck builders opening the packs that you would buy like at a store and stuff like that, right? It's not it's while in some ways it's still like, well, here's the types of things you could get in these packs. It's
Yeah.
not the same way as like a I guess in some ways it's not the same way as like the traditional gotcha game where it's like, well, if you do this many pulls, then you get this thing and
Yeah.
you're guaranteed a 5 star and you're guaranteed this and I'm sure there's some element of that to Pokemon Pocket. Um but it feels very much more like just a way of getting the card decks, not
Oh
you're not
yeah.
always pulling for like a specific character or a specific scene or
Yeah. So it's more Pokemon Masters, I think, is actually a traditional gacha game, and that you do pulls to unlock specific characters and their Pokemon, and then you like if you do enough of them, you're guaranteed like a 5-star pull and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. I have not played a lot of it, but I did play a little bit of it when it came out. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's like the sort of more traditional gotcha experience. And not that I've played a ton of them, right? I mean, I started exploring them more in like 2020 with like Genshin was the first one that I played. And I was hooked on Genshin for a little bit, but then I fell off. Honkai Star Rail then came out, which at some point I might recommend, not even for you to play all of Honkai Star Rail because it's very long, um, but I still actually think that the intro to Honkai Star Rail is probably one of the best free to play introductions that I've ever seen.
Okay.
It's just very artistic, very well done. It's a beautiful intro. The music really sets the stage. For anybody who has seen the intro or played or knows anything about the characters, Kafka's just hot and she's like very prominently featured in it.
And we
Um,
love hot women.
I do love hot women, right? If she can mind control me, that's pretty cool too. Um, you know, I could never get her to come home no matter how many times I pulled for her though. Um, and I haven't played Honkai in a long time and I might go back to it at some point. Um, and recently I sort of started playing the Persona 5 gotcha game, which the story that it's telling is fine. The gotcha elements are a lot for that type of game. And of course now there's the Horse Girl one, which I have not picked up,
I
but
have not, but I've seen it.
I've seen
I
it
have seen
everywhere.
Horse Girl one.
I've seen it everywhere, and I have thought about, and I haven't done it yet, but I have thought about sort of letting myself go down the rabbit hole of gotcha games and like maybe writing something for GSC about it, but then I'm also like, but do I have enough self-control to just not get hooked on all these games?
Absolutely not. I don't have enough self control to not get hooked on it. Like, probably.
That's sort of my problem, which is
Yeah.
the only reason I haven't done it, even though I've really thought about it. but I haven't let myself dive into it just yet. Also, there's plenty of other games that we get that then I'm like, okay, this will keep me away from
Yeah,
this, which is good.
yeah. But for next week, we will both have a look at Love in Deep Space
Yes.
to see the other side of what is horny approved. Because it's not hot women, it's hot man. Like,
it's hot men. And
yeah,
are they as hot as everyone says they are?
yeah, you know, or are they just traditionally handsome anime men, and they're not going to do anything for my gremlin brain, like,
Right. I know some of
like,
them it's just the very like oh yes, beautiful. Like I know some of it it's just that really breathiness.
oh, I hate it. Oh no.
Like I know that some of it in that game, right? I know that's like just the and for the people that works for, it works.
Fair play.
For
You're
the people that
perverts. Dirty little pervert.
listen, you know what? Like I know that's like for some of it, and I know for some other people it's the right, and I know it's like all those things that some people are really into, right? Fine,
I'm not
whatever.
allowed to look at the big titty women. What do you mean?
Sounds only, ASMR only. That's it. That's it.
Okay,
You
yeah,
know?
I can understand. I understand liking the sounds of or liking people's voices and things like that. Absolutely, but yeah, just maybe not. Maybe not that.
Listen, people are into it. You know what? It's fine. It's what it is. But I know I from what I've seen, there's a good amount of that in Love and Deep Space. So I'm curious what else it has to offer. So next week we'll talk about Love and Deep Space and
Yeah,
see what that's
we'll,
like.
yeah, we'll be back telling you that men are also allowed to be hot. Controversial, spicy take. Like,
Yep, that the people with the traditional male gaze are not the only gooners out there, and it's okay, and we should just allow everybody to goon when and where appropriate. That's all.
yeah,
That's what we're gonna come back to you with.
yeah, absolutely. Please do not goon in the main room. It is unacceptable unless you live alone. Like,
Yeah, unless you live alone. You know what? You live alone. You make the rules in your house. It's fine.
yeah,
That's fine.
but we don't goon in shared spaces because that's inconsiderate. Like,
That's true. But you know what you do in shared spaces? You share this podcast. That's what you do in shared spaces. Share this podcast. Tell us if you agree with us or not, right?
yep.
Thank you for joining us. Don't forget that you can also check out V with the Boys on the News podcast every Thursday. You can find the articles over on gamersocialclub.ca. If you need more people to chat with, or you want to talk to us in live time and be like, what the hell were y'all talking about, right? You can join the Discord. The Discord is there. The Discord will also be in the links down below. Whether you're on a podcast service or on YouTube, it will be in there. If you're on YouTube, make sure you do the like, the share, the subscribe with your friends. At some point, we talked about this before, at some point we will set a goal for me to play a Dark Souls game. And if anybody has ever seen me on stream or anything like that, you know that Dark Souls games are like not normally my jam, but I have promised Fee that if we hit a goal that we would do that. We'll see what happens. Maybe we'll make some really good looking characters for it too.
Yeah, we should peak fashion. We'll do peak Dark Souls 2 fashion, which is when you farm relentlessly for the desert sorcerer or sorceress top piece because it gives you great titties.
Not stats, just the booba.
Just the booba, yeah, and then you can get the what is it the leather pants, and then you can just walk about with your leather pants on and your booba, just stabbing things with your rapier.
There you go. If you want us to get the leather pants, get the booba, get the rapier, and for me to struggle bust my way through Dark Souls 2, what if this one gets 50 likes? And that's a high goal.
Yeah, that's a high goal, but if this one gets 50 likes, then I will personally farm the Desert Sorceress set so that I can drop it into Candy's game for her so that she has it from the start of the game. And if you've ever farmed for that set, you know that this is going to take me a long time.
It's going to take me a while, which means I'll have some time to purchase the game, reconsider all of my decisions, and jump into it. But 50 likes on YouTube, because that we can quantify much easier than I think any of the other podcast services. So check it out on YouTube. Give it 50 likes. Share with your friends. We can also see if you clicked on it just to like it and not actually watch it. So no cheating.
Yeah,
no cheating.
You have to at least watch a little bit, please.
Yes. Please watch a little bit. But again, let us know how this podcast was. If you enjoyed it, give us a 5-star review, like, comment down below. If you want to give us some sort of a challenge, put it in the comments too. We're open.
Yeah. We'll set more goals. We'll do more things. We're up for it.
Yeah, literally. I'm a Twitch streamer. I take challenges and I run with them. And now V just has to deal with some of these too.
It's okay. I'm Scottish. I'll do pretty much whatever. Give me a beer. Like, I'm fine.
See? So drop those challenges down below and we will see you next time. Bye!
Bye, guys!